Hey, hey, hey. Hey everybody, welcome back, you rock stars. Welcome back to another video from the big guy. In this one, we are going to be talking about subtracting integers. Right before this, there's a video about modeling integer subtraction. So make sure you check that out. There's a couple videos on adding integers through modeling and just adding integers. And then coming real soon, like within the next day or two, will be multiplication and division of integers, both modeling and the traditional forms. So let's get after it. You know what kind of exercise lazy people do? Yeah, it's called diddly squats. Used to say someone's so lazy they'll do diddly nothing. They're just diddly worthless. Well, they do diddly squat, and squat means like nothing as well. So pretty solid, pretty solid. Okay, today we're going to talk about you guys being able to demonstrate how to subtract two integers with signs that are the same and signs that are opposite. All right, and if you've already watched the addition one, you know that we've talked about the importance of understanding what integers are, which are your counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, forever, 0, and your negative numbers. -1, -2, -3, -4, your negative counting numbers. So you notice I didn't put any fractions or decimals or radicals in there. That's what integers are. So let's rock and roll. Let's talk about a little math lingo first, okay? First of all, when we're dealing with integers, we do use a negative sign to show negative numbers, okay? If you've watched my addition video, you've already seen this, but this is just to clarify. When you see a negative number, we will put a negative sign in front of it. We do not show a positive sign to show positive numbers, okay? So both of these numbers are negative, so you could read it as -3 plus -2. All right, so the first number is not negative, so we don't put a plus sign in front of it or a positive sign. If there's no sign, it's just simply positive. So this would be 3 plus a -2. And this would be -3 plus 2. So you got a negative number in first, and you got a positive number second. All right, and look at, would we do this? This would look crazy. +3 plus 2, or a +3 plus a +2? No, we would just simply say 3 plus 2. Okay. When I say the signs are the same, you're going to hear me saying that throughout the video. What I mean is both signs are positive or both signs are negative. And in this first one, you could look at it and you could see that both signs are positive. So there's no sign here, which means positive, no sign here, which means positive. And over here, we got both signs are negative. -3 minus -2. So when I say both signs are the same, I'm saying either both are positive or both are negative. And when I say they're opposite, I'm saying exactly what you're thinking of right now. Yes, that means opposite. So this is a -3 and this is a +2. So we have a positive and a negative sign involved in our problem. This one starts out positive, +3, and then it ends up as a -2. So +3. So how would I read that? 3 minus a -2. And how would I read that first one? -3 minus 2. All right, just a little lingo to help you out. All right. Now, just like if you watch the addition video, you notice that we put a couple rules together. So let's talk about the normal subtraction rule, okay? Subtraction rule number 1. If there are no negative numbers involved in your problem, then just subtract. Same way you did in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever grades you were in, just subtract. So I have two positive numbers. I have 9 minus 5. So if they're both positive, you don't have to do anything crazy. Literally just subtract. What's 9 minus 5? It's 4. That's simple. All right, the subtraction switcheroo rule, okay? So subtraction rule number 2. If you have a subtraction problem that has negative numbers involved, and it's a subtraction problem, then the switcheroo rule is simply change the last two signs, okay? So in this problem, so in every subtraction problem, I think it's really important that you understand that there are 3 signs involved that we're dealing with. We have this one here, which you can't see because that would be a +9. We have subtraction, and we have -5. Okay, so this rule tells us to change the last 2 signs, and it's always going to be talking about this middle one and whatever sign is in front of the second number. Okay, so let's look and see what happens when we do that. So what we do is here's another one, but we would say now I have a -9 minus 5. Change the last 2 signs. All right, so I have a negative here. Don't worry about that one. Here's our second sign, and our third sign would be a positive as it started, okay? So what would you do? If that was the case, you would say -9, keep it the same, change the last 2 signs. So this negative would be, or this minus sign would become a positive. And since that was, let me erase all this real quick. So if we change the last two signs, we're dealing with this one and this one, okay? So keep the first one the same, -9. We're going to switch the subtraction to addition. Switcheroo! This is a +5, so we're going to switch it to -5. That's the switcheroo rule. Not too hard, right? All right. And now let's look at this one. I have -9 minus a -5. I got a subtraction problem. I have negative numbers involved. Let's switcheroo. Let's switch. The first one stays the same. Let's turn that minus sign into a plus sign. And then we're going to go, instead of -5, we're going to switcheroo that guy and just put it as 5. Just switch it around. This is the first part. We're going to tell you what to do afterwards. But if you see a subtraction sign and you've got negative numbers involved, switcheroo! That's what you should be doing. All right, so let's look and see at this. Now, same thing. After you do the switcheroo, then you go back and use the addition rules that you learned in the other video. So addition rule number 1, if the signs are the same, just add and keep the sign. And then just as a review, addition rule number 2, the signs are different, subtract the two numbers, and keep the sign of the largest absolute value. So you just learned how to do that, so use that with this one. So this is basically making it so if you see the subtraction of integers, the first rule was what? If it looks just like a normal subtraction problem that you've always done, just do it the normal way. But if you got negative numbers involved, switcheroo the last two signs, and then go back to your addition rules. Let's take a look at what that looks like right now. So right now I have 9 minus 4. I have two positive numbers. Which should we do? We should just do the very first rule, which is if there are no negative numbers, just subtract, okay? Whoops. If there are no negative numbers, just subtract. So 9 minus 4 equals what? 5. Because we didn't have any negative numbers, we just go ahead and subtract. Let's try another one. Uh-oh, I see a subtraction problem and I see a negative number. Switcheroo! You should yell that out in class every once in a while. When you get to it, just yell out, switcheroo, and see people laugh. Anyways, so what does that tell us to do? We have a subtraction problem that has any number involved, a negative number involved, so it's switcheroo time. So what do? Well, first thing we do is, let's switcheroo. -11. Let's switch that minus sign to a plus sign. There's no sign here, which means it's positive, so let's switcheroo it to a negative sign, okay? Then, we have addition rule number 1. Are both signs the same? Yes, we have a -11 plus -2. Just add them together, which equals 11 plus 2 equals 13. And keep whatever sign you were dealing with. We were negative, so we're going to stay negative. You remember how to do that already, don't you? Boom. Uh-oh, here we go. Another subtraction sign. But we have negative numbers involved. Switcheroo! So let's switch the numbers around, or switch the signs, the last two signs. First one stays the same. Subtraction goes to addition. We have a -7, so now it's going to be a +7. Okay? So now we've turned it into an addition problem. Which addition rule should we use? Okay? We should use the second rule because our signs are different. We have a negative here and we have a positive here. So what do? We subtract. What is 20 minus 7? That's 13. Okay? And then you go back and say which of these, either the absolute value of 7 or the absolute value of -20. Which one of those is going to be a bigger number? Yeah, the absolute value of 20 is going to be 20 away from 0. So since 20 was farther away from 0, had a bigger absolute value, we keep their sign. So it'd be -13. Switcheroo. Addition rule number 2. Signs are different. Subtract. Keep the biggest absolute value. Okay, here we got another one. Subtraction problem. All right, so we got 7 minus a -4. So what are we going to do? We see a subtraction and a negative number. Whoops. Subtraction and a negative number. Switcheroo. Okay, so we have to switch these around. So I could simply, if I got two negative numbers, here's a little cheat code for you. You don't have to write it over, just do this. Turn them both into positive. And now I have 7 plus 4. That's a simple addition problem. We don't have to do any rules to that because both signs are the same. 7 plus 4 equals 11. Coolio, coolio. Now we got this one. Subtraction problem with a negative number. Switcheroo! All right, so turn that into positive. Turn that into negative. Now I have 27 plus -20. Which addition rule are we going to use? The signs are the same, right? Negative and a negative. So just add them together. 27 plus 20 equals 47. What sign were we dealing with? They're both negative, so the answer stays negative. You guys are ready to rock and roll this. Knock it out the park. Just remember your addition rules and your subtraction rule, which is switcheroo, switcheroo. Turn it back into addition. Go back to those rules. All right, rock stars. Well done. Okay, well done. Hey, did you guys hear about the 2 artists that got in a boxing match? Yeah, it ended up in a draw. A draw in sports is a tie, but a draw as an artist is you're drawing. So it was a boxing match that ended in a draw because they were artists. All right. Peace out.